So, Lance, the new Reuters Ipsos poll shows 57% of adults disapprove of the president's new tariffs. Almost 3 in 4 expect prices to increase as a result. Do you see anything in this poll?
Well, I think there's no doubt it's going to be a bumpy ride. The president has been straightforward about it from day one, that there might be some bumps along the way. But it would seem to me, coming into today, the White House says that there's 70 countries that they're negotiating with. It seems like America is going to baseline reset with the vast majority of the countries around the world. And so that, to me, points to one country and one country alone that we all know has been a problem. The country that has stolen $600 billion a year in intellectual property, the $300 billion trade deficit that we have with China. They have set up, infiltrated our universities with Confucius Institutes. Everybody wants to talk about China, but no one has ever wanted to stand up to them and take them on. And so if we are going to do a reset with all of these other countries, that then goes to China. We know that our country is economically strong. China's is not nearly in the position to take on this trade war. So it really comes down to Xi Jinping. And what is he going to do when America unites with these other countries? Is he going to come to the table and negotiate a deal, or is he going to plunge his country further into economic problems? That, to me, seems to be where we're headed going into today.
And so, Senator, a Trump voter from Pennsylvania told NBC News, quote, "We're scraping pennies together. I know how hard it is for us. I can't imagine how hard it is for seniors who are even older than us. Something's got to give." And I'm just wondering, Senator, do you think, what is that something that is going to have to give?
Well, you just heard that this is some kind of negotiating strategy, but, it's going to raise millions of dollars. And, there's no coherent, consistent statement out of the White House on what the end game is. And that's what people are feeling. And the bottom line is that there's more bad news coming, because if Trump doesn't back up now, and you can talk about negotiating all you want. Last night at an event, Trump talked about how everybody's coming to him because he's so powerful. That is not a way to begin negotiations with trading partners. And when you start seeing the earnings calls coming, and when people start talking about, in CEOs, about the impact, it's going to have even a greater impact. And right now, we may see an inversion curve that would again indicate that we're headed to recession. And so he's playing a game of chicken with no end. And he's saying, I'm going to negotiate all this with 70 countries. And oh, by the way, he hasn't charged reciprocal tariffs. If he had, then people have said, we're willing to go to zero. And Navarro has said, not good enough. And so I don't see this ending anytime soon. There's a level of hubris about this that totally ignores what's happening to the American Main Street and to people living on fixed incomes. And, every Republican secretly is wishing he'd back down.
Lance, is every Republican wishing that? And also, what is the patience level of the American people on this?
Well, I think if you're in a community somewhere in middle America that has seen your town decimated and jobs fleeing overseas because of this trade imbalance we have, particularly with China, which is $300 billion, and the fact that they've been stealing from us our intellectual property to the tune of $600 billion, those are American jobs right now. There are millions of jobs that have been lost across America because of these trade imbalances. And look, the reason these countries are coming to America is because they need us more than we need them, and we are economically strong. And so finally, somebody has come to the table to stand up and say we need to right the wrongs, particularly when it comes to China. Everybody's been talking about China and what they have done to America for decades with the theft and with the trade imbalances, and that we finally have somebody who is standing up to them and taking them on, saying enough is enough.
No, he's not taking on China. He's taking on the entire world. And that's the problem. That's not how you treat your trading partners. That is not a formula for success. And this has long-term ramifications. I'm old enough to have been an anti-NAFTA person. I actually did rallies against NAFTA. But it is what it is. And we need to set a trade regime going forward that benefits American workers, but also recognizes that the United States of America is only 5% of global population. We have to have trading partners. And oh, by the way, I think we're pretty concerned about soybean prices and the Chinese market.